Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and Nintendo, as you probably know, have announced the Nintendo Switch OLED model, which is... well, it is pretty much what it sounds. It's a Switch with an OLED screen, who'd have thunk it? But there's more to it than meets the eye. There's a lot more going on beyond even what Nintendo has mentioned, and so we're going to cover all of the differences that we've found between this and the original Switch, or arguably the, reworked Switch from 2019. Basically, we're not going to cover battery life. And when we say everything, we mean everything. From the big major things, which we're going to cover straight away for the sake of completeness, all the way down to the really piddly, pointless stuff that really doesn't matter in the slightest, but that's the kind of thing I live for. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling. Let's dive right into things. Let's start off with the major stuff. So, the new screen is larger now at 7 inches, and it uses OLED technology, which means that each LED that makes up the screen is individually lit rather than having a single backlight. This means it'll be a lot brighter and very nice on the eyeballs indeed. More color, more pop, more contrast, all that good stuff. It supposedly boasts improved audio, but we don't really know exactly how yet or what that includes. I mean, it's probably just bigger or better drivers, or maybe a better cavity. We'll find out, won't we? It comes with an entirely new dock in either black or white, depending on which model you buy, which features an Ethernet port for a wired internet connection and one less USB port as a result. The original dock has a USB 3 port, which isn't active. It's still just USB 2, which is really weird. It's got a great big honking kickstand now, so it'll be usable in tabletop mode in a lot more instances, and it's also adjustable, so you'll have multiple angle options. It's got more internal storage, a whopping, maybe 64 gigabytes, twice as much as the original. But it's still only 64. It's better than nothing. One of the models includes white Joy-Con along with the white LAN dock. Swanky. And lastly, for major things, more of a thing to know than a difference, all accessories such as Joy-Con, the new LAN dock, the original dock, controllers, wrist straps, etc, they're all intercompatible, so you can plonk your old Switch in a new LAN dock or an OLED Switch in an original dock. Nice. The only thing that is arguably maybe not entirely compatible is Labo, and that's just because the screen's a little bit bigger, but who knows, maybe it'll be fine. Now we get onto the good stuff, like the really piddly, pointless things that nobody really cares about, except maybe you care about some of them. Let me know which ones you care about most in the comments down below. The whole console weighs approximately 22 grams more than the original. It's also 3 millimeters wider, which means it may not fit in existing grips, but again, we'll have to wait and see. The bezel is thinner and a lot squarer around the screen. The game card slot is a bit squarer as well. The headphone socket doesn't have that plastic edge bit around it anymore. It looks a lot more premium. The vent on the top has more fins and looks a lot sturdier. The brightness sensor is now on the top. I saw some people think that that was a sync button, but it literally says on Nintendo's website that it's the brightness sensor, so that's pretty conclusive. The volume controls are different as well. They're kind of slightly longer. The power button's different as well. It's all rectangly now. The rails have fewer screws in them. This bit below the bottom of the rail is also mildly not the same. The speakers are lower down on the chassis now and longer. And thinner. The Nintendo Switch logo on the back is now on the kickstand, and it's a bit smaller. The product information with all the safety stuff and the standard stamps and things like that, that's not visible anymore, so it's possible it's on the inside of the kickstand in order to keep things nice and tidy. There's these little nubbins on the underside of the console, which to me look a lot like they could be tiny rubber feet to stop a whole lot of sliding about when using the kickstand. There's a distinct lack of visible screws on the back plate, and in fact it seems like the top and back plate is now all one piece where it was separate before. There might be some screws under the kickstand, in fact I'd put money on it, but visibly just on the back with the kickstand closed, not a sausage. Except the one on the top. There's also a lack of back vents. I mean, there may be something under the kickstand, like so many other things, or they've got something going on, but yeah, the vents that were there before, they're not there anymore. There's no serial number sticker on the base now either. Again, it's probably hidden inside that chunky monkey of a kickstand. The new LAN dock has roundier edges than before, a clear departure from the new squariness of the console itself. The LAN dock's TV connection indicator is now tiddly. The back of the dock now has a much bigger vent to the console itself, and this new stripy plastic on both the inside and the back cover. It also looks like that the back cover may well be removable now, as it is in this image. Then again, I suppose arguably the original was you just had to yank it. Continuing with the curvy theme of the dock, the opening for the cables is now exceedingly curvaceous. The screws in the back of the dock are also in different places. The guide rails inside the dock appear to potentially be a bit thinner this time as well, but it's hard to say for sure from a picture and without calipers. It also seems that the outside of the dock's chassis is one piece of plastic for the most part rather than two, or three, or however many the original dock was. It came apart into a lot of different bits. And the cradle for the console seems to be its own separate piece now. Look, it's even black on the white model. That can't be the same bit of plastic now, can it? The Joy-Con strap now has this small white thread running through it. Wowzers trousers. The new Joy-Con grip looks like it may have an embossed Switch logo rather than the old glossy printed thing. And the same thing goes for the land dock, and here the logo's also a lot smaller than the original. Ooh. The game card slot cover has new little tabs that appear to be a bit more substantial than the original one, which means that hopefully it'll be easier to stay closed. I mean, I never had a problem, but I'm not here to judge. And lastly, and certainly leastly, the game card slot cover doesn't have a visible injection mold nipple. I did say it was leastly. And there you have it. That is every single little tiny bit of information that we could find that could even remotely be considered a difference on the new OLED model, on the new Switch OLED. Did you find any that we didn't? Let us know what they are in a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you look really closely at that subscribe button, because they've probably updated it and there's probably some pixel difference or something. And be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye bye. And if you look on the right-hand side to the left of the right-hand side, you can see a small extrusion along the molding lines, which is a clear sign that this has been created using a new injection mold system, which means that they have stopped using their original ones from the original console. And if you look to the left even further, you can see that the screws that they are using are 0.4 millimeters wider on the head than the previous screws. This is obviously of great relief to anyone who may have suffered a small screw dislodging situation in the past, as this is now 43% less likely to occur on this new model. The pixel density of the screen is actually lower, so those who have eyes that are more akin to seeing things of a higher resolution may want to reconsider. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.